All right, we'll be back from the break. 28 minutes to the top of the hour. This is still the second hour of our discussion. A bit sorry for that, but we are here to take you more through our discussion of the computer misuse law. But before that, just to remind you, ZABU says invest in bonds and securities with just a minimum of 15,000 Ugandan shillings. How best can you do this? You simply get onto your MTN using the USSD code *292# with your phone, and then register with your name, and in the next 24 hours you'll be ready to invest. Minimum is 15,000 Ugandan shillings. Markets are open from 8:15 a.m. and closed at 3:15 p.m. East African Standard Time. These markets are only closed during weekends and during the public holidays. So make your money count. Do not just save, but save for investment. Choose any bond or security that you wish to invest in with ZABU. ZABU says, my money, my future. Powered by Altex East Africa. With Altex East Africa, they say, do something new. All right, and besides that particular one, as the World Cup is approaching in the next few weeks, come November, there is a channel that you'll definitely get all that and more. Just simply buying yourself a GoTV decoder, not only to watch Smart 24 on channel 394, but you can definitely watch all matches, all the 64 matches live and in HD, only on SuperSport, and that is with GoTV. Now, this particular one comes with a subscription. After buying your decoder, 25,000, you come with a free month of GoTV value. But to watch all the 64 games, you upgrade to GoTV Super with 39,000 Ugandan shillings, and you will watch all the games like you are in Qatar. GoTV, live it, love it. All right, now back here on our topic of discussion, smart means business. We get into the computer misuse law, which was, of course, started by the president last week, and it is now law, no longer an act or bill that had been passed to Parliament. Now, this time around, we want to look at how will this particular computer misuse law act or anything solve unlawful crimes that are being committed on the internet. And also, on the other hand, when you look at the situation, it's estimated that Uganda loses over 15 billion Ugandan shillings. This is due to fraud, cybercrime, and data breaches. And this is where our background of the discussion comes from. Now, joining me on set to discuss more of this particular one this very morning, I do have Brighton Abaho, who is a programs associate from the Center for Policy Analysis, CEPA, and he's also a lawyer. Many thanks for joining us this morning.
Oh, thank you very much, Jolam. I am very much privileged to be here, to be part of this conversation of the Computer Misuse Act that was recently assented to by the President.
Okay.
And thank you very much for having me and hosting me today.
All right. And speaking of which, let's kickstart it from there. And before we went on air, you did mention to me that you are among the people who presented before the Committee of ICT when this bill had been tabled in Parliament. If you are to take us through, what are some of the provisions that you had initially presented to the committee?
Okay, thank you very much. Like you have said, I work with the Center for Policy Analysis. CEPA, Center for Policy Analysis, is a policy think tank that works on legislative advocacy, that works on aspects of different policies, policy review in the country. And Center for Policy Analysis undertakes its flagship program, Parliament Watch, whose aim is to bridge the gap between the citizen and Parliament. So we always, at Parliament Watch and Center for Policy Analysis, we always make sure that we are able to bring the information or everything that happens to Parliament back to the people in our communities. And most of the times we're able to do this through the different social media platforms. So now back to the question that you asked, when Honorable Moses Magogo presented this bill, when Honorable Muhammad
MP Kampala Central,
MB Kampala Central presented this bill for he first sought bill, and then after he had to bring the bill for the first reading. After the first reading, it was referred to the committee on ICT, the one that is chaired by Honorable Moses Magogo. And when a bill is referred to a committee, it is very important that the public gets to give their views on that bill. We were privileged as the Center for Policy Analysis to appear before the committee and make presentations about this bill.
Okay.
And when you look at that bill clearly, you look some of these things that were provided for. One, the bill talked about things to do with unsolicited information, misleading or malicious information, unsolicited information, hate speech. And
those are some of the provisions you made?
Yes.
Okay.
So when we appeared before the committee, we requested the committee, because our recommendation was on, which is now section 23A of the Act, we requested the committee, this one talks about voice recording and voice recording and video recording. And we told them that if this clause was to be passed, it would discourage one, investigative journalism and citizen journalism that have been very key and very important in promoting, in creating awareness in the society, especially in exposing the different wrongs and evils in our society. So we asked the committee to look at this closely as it would affect these initiatives, which have been very key in one, promoting democracy in our society. So we asked the committee to clearly to consider deleting this specific provision. Then also, which is now section 26A of the Act that talks about hate speech, we asked the committee that there is need to actually clearly define what hate speech means. Okay. That unless hate speech is clearly defined in the Act, then we shall have a challenge in regard to enforcement. Okay. Because why it becomes very problematic in enforcement, it's because if what hate speech is not clearly defined, what it means, different enforcement agencies are going to misconstrue it or interpret it differently, which in the end is going to affect enforcement, because it means that it is going to be enforcement is going to be done selectively and as well. Then also, what is section in the Act? It is section 26B, which talks about unsolicited information. We also advise the committee to ensure that this very provision that talks about unsolicited information is defined. Because until when we get to define what unsolicited information is, then we are going to have a problem. Why? Why am I saying this? It is because one of the things that this provision talks about, that you can only send information that is within the public interest. But the question is, what is within the public interest? For example, if it is about information on corruption or the public being able to talk about the performance of their leaders, isn't this in public interest?
Indeed it is.
Shouldn't the public criticize their leaders? So when you look at this, you find that that this very provision, one, it is indiscriminate, and it's too broad, and it is going to make its application very difficult, because it has a lot of uncertainties as to meaning, and like I've already noted, such provisions, especially this one specifically on unsolicited information, is likely to be misused by government, public officials, to curtail sharing and dissemination of information in society. And this, in the end, is going to limit the freedom of expression and access to information in the society. And as we all know, it is very clear. as provided for under Article 9 of the African Charter on Human Rights and People's Rights, and as provided for under Article 19 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, and also under Article 29 of the Constitution of Uganda, and also Article 43 of the Constitution of Uganda. All these talk about the freedom of speech and expression. And in a this very